Welcome back to the Square. I am your host, Curtis V.
And I'm Curtis IV.
Yes, everybody, he is back.
Yes.
Finally got him back in studio. We are going to dive into today's episode, and it's the 14th. It's the day of Game 3. We are going to preview that plus, Game 4. We're going to preview Game 4. Go back and kind of look at what happened through games 2 and 3 from last week, and then just kind of just look at some big stuff that's happening right now in the NBA. So let's just go ahead and dive right in. Let's start with game 2. It was quite a while ago on the day that I recorded the finals preview here. But man, like, Phoenix just handles their business at home. I feel like that's kind of the story of this whole series so far.
Yes.
Home teams just getting it done.
Overall, I mean, I would say it was still fair to say that, through the playoffs, we've seen quite a few road wins that's more prevalent than ever. So, but Phoenix, speaking about Phoenix specifically, they have basically held serve at home.
Do they have a home loss?
I'm sitting there running this through my head. I'm like,
Maybe they dropped one versus LA.
It had to be. They were down 2-1, and I don't even remember how that series played out. It got to be against the Lake. I don't know. The fact that I've heard no one say that they're undefeated at home, I know they lost somewhere.
One along the way, maybe 2, maybe 1 against the other LA team.
I want to say 2. It just doesn't seem like they just lost.
Because they didn't lose any versus Denver.
That's just the greatest stat no one's talking about in the country. Because the more I'm thinking about it, I can't think of them losing.
Yeah,
but I can't imagine that they're. I don't. This is a horrible take.
No, it just was one of those things that just popped in my head. It was like just the way that they've been playing at home. They have one of the strongest home court advantages, I think, of anybody, because that stadium's rocking every single time Phoenix is in there, and it's without fail. That fan base is 100% behind them. People across the country are 100% behind them. I think it's weird because there's kind of this Tom Brady-esque split with CP3 this year, where there's a ton of people that are 100% behind him. Like, we really want to see you win, but there's a bunch of haters out here that are just like, I hate CP3. I don't ever want to see him get his. Like, I feel like that's one of the things that I've seen, like, on Twitter and across the internet. People just kind of hating on CP3 for reasons unexplained, I guess. I'm not really sure what the case is there.
Okay, what I'm looking at here, they do. I'm going back to the Phoenix thing. They do have a couple of losses at home.
Okay.
We got game 2 of in the first round against the Lakers.
Okay.
They lost game 2. They also, if you move on to
the conference
Nuggets,
finals.
No, against the Nuggets, they lost game 5.
What?
Against the Nuggets, yeah.
I thought they swept the Nuggets. What are we?
Is it the Nuggets? No. I'm sorry, the Clippers.
The Clippers. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm look. This chart is
okay.
No, they swept the Nuggets. The Clippers.
That's fine.
They lost game. Yeah, they lost game 5 against the Clippers. So that's 2. Yep. So they lost their 4-2.
That's insane. No. So yeah, that just kind of chops up to just Phoenix has one of the strongest home court advantages. I know Milwaukee's probably dropped already 3 or 4 home losses there. But across the board, I think in game 2, the starters for Phoenix is really where it's at. I mean, just their stat lines: Devin Booker 31, 5 and 6. CP3 was 23, 4 and 8. DeAndre Ayton only had 10 points, but he had 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and had 3 steals in the game. So he was just an animal, stat stuffing machine across the board.
If you butt his numbers up with Jay Crowder, you can see that they both very efficient double-doubles that they put out there.
Yeah, 11, 10, and 3. And I think this is kind of the key stat that if you kind of look ahead to game 3 is the rebounds between DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder. There's a couple of other things to highlight within game 3, but we'll get to that in a minute. But just there was 15 total rebounds between DeAndre Ayton and Jay Crowder in game 3, 21 in game 2, and you can see the difference. 118 to 108 win with the extra possessions for Phoenix, and then a 120 to 100 loss in Game 3. So just when you have those an extra 6 possessions to put up points, especially if Devin Booker is hitting his shots. I mean,
yeah, that was the big piece.
That's going to be a huge one.
Their scoring went up in Game 3, but their rebounds went down, and we have a 20-point loss as opposed to a 10-point win.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that I'm not really too worried about Phoenix in that respect. But I do think that Milwaukee they played much better in Game 3 specifically.
Why is that? I'm only speaking, and I want to preference this with I don't understand today's NBA and this home court advantage thing because I think it's a crapshoot to a degree.
I think it's a combination of both home court advantage because in that Game 3, Milwaukee was rocking for sure, but at the end of the day, I think it's that transition for the team. If you're already up 2-0, that transition to an environment that's against you, I for some reason it seems like it's always getting guys like this in teams like this, where it's just like you guys have that chemistry. It's just this weird type of dynamic where once you switch over, it just falls for some reason. I don't have a specific thing to point to.
I didn't think you did. I that's the thing I'm struggling with.
It's just kind of like a vibe, I guess. It's just the way that it comes down.
It's the finals. Why, what is this whole where we're on the road, we're struggling type of thing. I'm like, this is not recreational basketball. It's not like, well, we got fiberglass backboards at our gym, but at your gym you might have, steel white backboards,
double rims.
Double rims. We don't have double rims. We have no net. You have a net.
I get what you're saying.
It's the same regulation. I understand there's a crowd screaming and hollering. I'm like, but there's a crowd screaming and hollering I'm just saying to the NBA player, isn't this like normal for you? Like being on the road should not be some kind of anomaly to your schedule.
I think it's just that first shift is from the 2 games at home, and then that first shift away.
I thought
I
so
think
too.
that was really the only thing, and I told you that because we talked about that over the phone, and I said I can see Milwaukee winning this game. I didn't think it was going to be by 20 points, but I did see Milwaukee winning Game 3.
You did, and I didn't have a hard take on it. I was pushing for just some more interesting storyline.
Yeah, 3-0 Phoenix would have been fantastic.
Even if there wasn't going to be a sweep, just the fact that they pushed it there.
No, I would have wanted it to put it away tonight.
I've rarely seen any teams in the finals.
No, I know
3-0.
that.
It's just something you don't see a lot of. So it was more so to that. Like that would have made. I think it would have made it a little bit more interesting for me, but
for sure,
maybe not for the rest of the country. But hey,
the thing that I saw from Milwaukee, from the difference between Game 2 and Game 3, is specifically Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. And I think this kind of solidifies Chris Middleton as a number 3 on this team. I know I'm gonna get
number 2.
Drew Holiday. Because if you go back and you look at Game 2, Drew Holiday. I mean, let's just start with Giannis. Giannis has been insane this entire playoffs. First of all, the fact that he's even playing right now after the hyperextension, that is insane.
Can I jump ahead to the end of the show? Got that dog award?
Okay.
I mean, we just do it right. I mean, it's gonna be Giannis.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's fine. Because
I didn't even want to make that like this is not a surprise. People.
Yeah, this is insane. He had a 42-point Game 2 with 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks. Again, this is literally a week removed from hyperextending his knee.
Shooting 68% from the field. My Lord.
Insane. And then in Game 3, he was 41, 13, and 6. Like, this dude is insane.
This is Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, Tim Duncan type, Kevin Garnett numbers. And I mean,
is this in response to me saying that I don't know if he can be the leading dude on the the number one guy on a championship roster?
Absolutely. No, I didn't just remember it when you said it. No, it's fair, a fair question.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were wrong.
Yeah, no, very much. No, but Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton kind of really showed me their roles on this roster, because Drew Holiday in Game 2, he had 17 points, not bad, 5 rebounds, 17 assists, 2 steals. Then he comes back in Game 3 with 21, 5, 9 in another steal. Like, I think the extra assist and the extra scoring from him was huge, as opposed to Chris Middleton. on the road, what the hell are you doing? 11.6 rebounds, 8 assists,
Right.
18 and 7, 6 with another steal in game 3. Just much better, much more filled out stat line in game 3. So, and then because I mean the others didn't, outside of their big 3 here, they really didn't change their stat lines from games 2 and 3. Like 38 points, 40 points.
No.
23 rebounds, 24 rebounds, 2 assists to 7 assists. I mean, they're like lockstep for the rest of the guys, like literally everybody else on the roster outside of those 3. They did not do anything differently. The changes between Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton uplifting their game when they get home, that's kind of where the difference was for me.
One person I would say that might be out of this equation. Not saying what you said, I don't disagree with. Just something you want to add. In transition to games 2 and 3, gotta mention Pat Connaughton. Let me explain why.
No, I get what you're saying.
Because Pat Connaughton's, I believe, in his game 2 output, which is a 14-7 game, great coming off the bench. But when you have a missing APB going out on a Chris Middleton, completely wasted stats based not on his part, but on the
that's
part
why I think that Chris Middleton was more important in his scoring, and him filling out his stat line was more important than Pat Connaughton.
Absolutely, because Pat Connaughton's numbers came down in game 3, where Middleton's went up. But when Middleton's numbers go up and Pat Connaughton's numbers went down to the point where not so much of a contribution, but they win
in 30 minutes. Like that's my issue with Pat Connaughton. 30 minutes. You got 30 minutes of playtime in game 2. In game 3.
Well, he had 33 in game 2. So
yeah, fair.
But I mean, he's playing long. But I'm saying a 14-7. I guess he did come off the bench, but he ended up playing heavy minutes. I'm saying it was a wasted game, but Pat Connaughton's contribution, as I'm seeing, is not directly in correlation to their wins and losses. It's more so Chris Middleton, and what is there to be said about the bench? Non-existent for the most part,
But I mean, that's exactly what Phoenix is, outside of Cam Johnson and Cam.
So all I'm seeing, I see Cam Johnson, Cameron Payne, not so much. Has not really shown up in this series.
Not all. Yet.
I mean, game 1, perhaps, but that was pretty much it. And even then, it was just in a very sparing role. So as you were saying, the benches have not really contributed significantly to anything in this series as of right now. And the home team is hell serve. And I mean, I don't even know where we're at in this series right now. I think game 4 would help us to better understand it, because right now it's almost a stalemate.
Yeah, that's where I think it is.
2-1 lead, but it's just nothing has happened that has not supposed to happen yet.
I do think so. Being that we're talking about game 3, I do think Phoenix definitely has it. I think Phoenix has a distinct advantage in this series right now, being that the biggest reason why they were able to get a win in this series so far is that they had to. Yes, Giannis did the same thing that he did in game 2. And that's not taking anything away from Giannis. That was a fantastic showing in both game 2 and game 3.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the biggest reason why you won is because Devin Booker shot 3 of 14, and Jay Crowder and DeAndre Ayton didn't combine for 20 rebounds, which they almost always do. And then you also had DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble. So I think that officiating wise, I did not like a couple of the calls in game 3, but they were home court calls, I guess, against DeAndre Ayton, and I do expect him to continue to play the exact same way. And I don't think that they're going to be calling it the same way in game 4. So I'm not expecting DeAndre Ayton to be in foul trouble. Maybe Jay Crowder gets into foul trouble, because it seems like that's where he always is at some point towards the end of the third quarter. But 3 for 14 shooting from Devin Booker. Are we really expecting him to do that again?
Not at all. And that's.
And 1 for 7 from 3. Absolutely not.
And I know just from these game by game analysis, man, you got that winning script, and then you got the losing script, and and it's almost like night and day. Like, he's the worst player ever. How could we ever compare him to Kobe? And then he scores 40. Oh my God, he's the best thing since Kobe.
Yeah.
Then they're debating why he should be not
Got his
compared
first
to Kobe.
triple double.
It's just, God, it's so contradictory.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it's so night and day. Like as if you just said 2 days ago.
Exactly.
Something completely did a 180, and then the stories are so extremely right, extremely left, no balance. It's just a winning script and a losing script. And so the question was, do I see him doing this again? No. Do I expect him to have a great game every single game? Heck no. It didn't, and nor should we.
I don't. I mean, he might score only 10 points again, but it's not gonna be on 3 or 14 shooting.
Right.
Like I just don't ever see that happening. Like he is a dude who is gonna come out, and I think Devin Booker. Game 4 is gonna be Devin Booker's game.
And that was what came exactly. I see him doing a bounce back game. He just had a bad shooting night. Yeah. The man only had 1 turnover,
and that happens.
That's what I'm saying.
That happens.
Now,
if
he had 5 turnovers, now he's had a horrible game. But just because he only put up 10 points, and what I'm saying, this is kind of how Scottie Pippen used to be viewed, because when they would just look at his scoring, look at the rest of his stat line. The man has 6 rebounds. He has 2 assists. I understand that, but 2 assists to 1 turnover in a bad shooting night. At least you're doing things in other areas where, okay, I am shooting bad, but the point is, coach is telling me to keep shooting. I'm the best shooter on the team.
Yeah.
I had an off night. Simple as that. But it's not that he didn't salvage anything in the game. And then he got pretty much benched in the late in the second half.
Yeah.
So, his minutes were down. And he only ended up playing 29 minutes. And I'm fine with that,
I mean, they were down by what? Almost 30 at some point.
Exactly. Like, there's no point in keeping him out there.
Yeah, let's not get him injured. Like,
exactly. We don't need a Derrick Rose situation.
Exactly.
Here. Just to try to, let's see if we can make it responsible. I mean,
respectable.
Make it respectable to down to 10 or something. Like, who cares if this dude blew out an ACL or something, which, shout out to Kawhi Leonard with the torn ACL, by the way.
Yeah, finally getting a diagnosis on that.
We already knew what it was, and they just wouldn't say it. Like, dude, you was never coming back. Moving on.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's just look ahead to Game 4. I know we're not expecting Devin Booker to have a game like that again. I said I'm not expecting to see DeAndre Ayton in foul trouble as much as he was for as long as he was anyway. He might still end up with the same amount of fouls, but I don't see it being a case in the early fourth quarter. And then Bridges, he had 4 turnovers, and so did Chris Paul. I don't expect him to be that sloppy again. Again, I really just chop up Game 3 to just that it's a weird transition. They just didn't have the right feel for the night, and
given they gave them an extra day.
Yeah, the extra day as well was huge.
It's kind of the LeBron James effect is what I like to call it. Just favorable scheduling. Just we got an extra day. And we're at home and we don't have to travel, and there's all this extras.
Yeah,
and I get all that. It's the finals. I would think whether I'm in Milwaukee or I'm in Phoenix, how bad is it really to go and travel to Arizona in July? Is it really? I mean, oh my God, it's like, it's 120. I mean, I get it because you're not playing outside, but I mean, it's just how bad is the damn travel? Or for Phoenix, is it really cold? It's not cold in Wisconsin this time, and it's just these things shouldn't. I know they right matter, but are they really? Is this flight really offsetting you, throwing your routine off like that to the point?
I think that the flight might be
finals,
but I don't think that not the place that they're in is the problem. I think it's just the travel itself can take its toll, and then also you have again that crowd out there. It's just a different vibe, and I think just that initial transition in the series. Because every series is different. I know, like they've been through this 3 times before already this year. I get what you're saying there, but this is the transition. This is it happens. I mean, you could even see it back when they swept Denver. They did not come out and play a fantastic Game 3. They still won it, but it wasn't a just home run game.
They only won 1 Game 3, and that was against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
So that's what I was. I'm not making much out of this. It just seems it's interesting statistically. Like, how is it that you virtually can outside? You only lost 1 game between the games 1 and 2, you only lost one of those games.
Yeah.
Which was game 2 in the first round. How is it that you're managing to keep constantly losing this third game? Like, because you make the travel and it's like, okay, you had these two opponents on a rope. You found a way to beat them soundly. And then they get home and all of a sudden they find a game. Like, I have a problem.
That's what I don't think it is. I don't think it's because they won the first 2 games versus the Clippers, and then the Clippers came out and won game 3. They did not find anything. Like that team was still dead to rights to Phoenix. It was just a matter of time. So I really like, again, game 4 you said is going to show us something more. If Milwaukee wins this game, I'm still taking Phoenix in this series anyway.
I still got them in 6, and which, by the way, I have them in 6. Why did you not know that? I've been saying Phoenix in 6.
No, I did say that.
You was like, I believe he has. You
because you said it, but I didn't write it down. I wanted to make it sure.
I didn't say 7.
I know.
So yes. So I mean, it's still.
I'm just in the business of not I'm not.
No. I don't mean to. It's just what I want to be clear, because he was like, I'm like, how is he not on the fence? I'm like, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it's the 6th game.
I'm pretty sure it was 6. Yeah,
it was 6. But you making me sound like I'm not really sure where he's at on the. Like I'm.
I'm on the fence about what you said because I just didn't write it down. I didn't have it right in front of me. That's it.
But and this is my struggle, because now I'm up here watching the game and I'm like, oh man, put your neck in the back of the. Put your foot on the back of their neck and just press down. I know that's a real bad analogy this time.
Not right now.
No, so
too soon.
But you need to really take it to this team now. As opposed to, why are you allowing them to quote unquote make it a series or giving them some type of hope, as opposed to y'all are superiorly better than this team. You show it in the first 2 games. I don't give so much credence to home court advantage this year. It's just It has not shown itself. Yes, more teams are winning at home. However, there's a significant amount of road wins in this playoffs where Phoenix, if Milwaukee came and took one of the first 2 games, I would not have been surprised. Which again, I gave them 6. I don't necessarily like I win 2, then they hold serve 2, and then the next team Phoenix will take the next 2. Hey, that can happen. That's not how I predict my 6, though. It's just like, no, I think
they'll probably steal one here, and they'll get one back there.
Some kind of way you're gonna drop game 5. I don't know why you would, and then you'll win on 6. And I've seen that so many times where
that's exactly how I have this series going. I think that they're gonna win today.
They'll lose at home and then win it on the road.
Yeah, I think Phoenix is gonna win tonight. I think they possibly lose game 5.
That's the second game.
That they'll drop, and then
6 games.
They close it out in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I don't like that. I just don't like that.
But I also did say that they could possibly win in 5, and I could definitely see them winning behind that crowd in Phoenix, rocking 1 game away from having a title in their town. And I think that they could close out in 5 if they really wanted to. But again, it just comes down to, can they win tonight, and do they get back into their groove? I don't see Devin Booker having the same type of night that he did in game 3. So. I mean, honestly, even if DeAndre Ayton's whole situation is still the exact same and they neutralize him, I still think Phoenix might win this game. Like, I think it's going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout win tonight, but I do think Phoenix is going to come out with the victory.
Every time I say that, I'm never even close. I don't know. I don't even know who I expect to win tonight, to be honest with you. I was sitting there struggling with that for the last day. I've been like, I can see Phoenix winning. I can see Phoenix losing. I can see it equally. Like
I could see it going
to say Milwaukee has it on lock at home versus Phoenix just don't really have it together right now on the road with this lag time, and they have to go out to Wisconsin and just.
They've been there for a week now, so I don't think that's really too much of a.
I understand, but I mean, it can still be stale out there. Just it's Wisconsin, it's Milwaukee.
Well, all you have to do is focus on basketball out there, so I think they'll be just fine.
I don't think that's what they do. So it's just
there's nothing to do in Milwaukee.
I had one stat. And it's from game 3 that I had the biggest issue with, and this is why I keep speaking to home court advantage.
Yeah,
Bobby Portis's numbers. I have a real problem with this, man. Okay, 11-8. It's good numbers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
I'm like, now you show up. Where the hell you been for 2 games? And that again, you can't play on the road, but you get at home, and now, big bad man here.
I do think there's some credence to not for, and this is why I separated Milwaukee's stat lines from the big three to the others.
Yeah,
is because for the role players, I do think that there is some credence to, hey, like role players play better at home. Like I get that, and then on the road,
why?
I don't understand it, and that's the issue that I have with Chris Middleton, is because I think Chris Middleton is more of a role player than he is a star. Because if you can't show up on the road when Giannis is putting up 42 points, you can't get yours when they're keyed in on Giannis and Giannis is still getting his. How are you failing to do what you need to do?
Absolutely, and that's what I mean. If you that guy, or you
which he's not
in slate. Thank you. And you slated to be considered that guy or a set of guys, this is my thing. You never hear a term like this. I really think LeBron James is actually pretty much better on the road than he is at home.
Yeah, no.
You never hear, or Chris Paul or Kobe Bryant. You never hear that. It's just.
I mean, Giannis had identical stat lines.
Or even Giannis. We don't sit there and say, well, this is him at home versus him at the road. When you're a transcendent player, that will never come up.
The only time you have a comparison even like that, it's when he is on the floor and when he is not.
Right.
Like, it's not.
Or you're trying to compare something in a series versus another series, but it's never in that aspect of the individual player himself.
Yeah.
Then you get Chris Middleton. Well, look at him on the road versus at home. See, this is why he's not that guy.
This is why he's a role player.
Thank you. He are probably the elites of the role players, but nevertheless, you're still a role player. You just,
role players are important to a roster.
The top 1%.
Let's put you in your proper context. You are not a star. You are a role player who definitely plays a very important role to the Milwaukee Bucks' success. But at the end of the day, I think if we're gonna say anybody is closer to a star than Chris Middleton, it's Drew Holiday. Which is it's tough. But
I guess I think they're like two peas in the same pod. They just play different positions as far as what our outlooks from and what they put out there.
Do they though play different positions? They both play the same position to me.
Define role, whatever that's supposed to be.
A floating guard.
Now we're going back to the coaching, which I don't agree with.
And I finally somebody came out and said it earlier this week. Budenholzer, you are on borrowed time, buddy, because, man, this is bad.
I think the best case scenario is for him at this point is win the championship, great for the resume, set you up for another job.
Yeah.
To give you the easiest access to another job. Other than that, I mean, because it's a foregone conclusion. They're not – Milwaukee can't be in there – if they're in their right mind, they're not bringing this guy back. Because if you're looking at a big picture, where else are you going to go? This is it. You're hitting your ceiling, even if it's you eked out a championship some kind of way.
Okay, but I mean, I think you did have a good point last week.
What was that?
When we were talking about it off air, you did say, what's their next option, though?
That is true.
That
is true.
You can't just move off of them to move off of them. But
Jason Kidd back.
That
was my one. Because he's the one person out there that I was like, okay,
I can see it. That's fine. I either do that or poach Brad Stevens.
I remember you saying that. I'm okay with either one because beyond that, who else is out there?
I know there's a couple of assistants out there that they're trying to grab.
We don't want Van Gundy. No, thank you.
No, please don't do that. I'm tired of the Gundys. Like, get them out of. Like, I would say unless it was Jeff, I would be interested to see him come out of the booth. No. From what he's been saying on the booth, you need to. That's because he's in the booth. You got to see. I remember him, the coach. Him in the booth, and they're not even the same two players, which is kind of showing me like, okay, production network nonsense right now. Maybe. Or you a liar and you just try to put that facade on as a coach, and that's why you wasn't as successful as you wanted to be when you was in New York. But not that I was very impressed with him, but his numbers over the time of what I seen what all the other coaches did in New York, I'm like, damn, he actually did pretty good in comparison. But moving on. I don't think that will lend to getting results in Milwaukee specifically. I don't know. I'm looking at there's a scarcity of options here. That's all. Yeah. I will say those are your two best options. Go with Jason Kidd if you can get him, bring him back. or
because it was a whole different regime when he was there.
yeah,
too.
or poach Brad Stevens if you can. That's going to take a lot of money, but if you're really looking for a championship, do it. Or at the end of the day, if there is one of these assistants that have just really good player personnel relationships, maybe go with them. But it has to be got somebody who knocks your socks off as an assistant. I think
Is Mike Brown still an assistant?
I have no idea.
I don't even know where he's at, if he's even in the league anymore. But I was just curious. I would have been like, well, he's always like at the top of my list for assistants that's available that can, I think, can at least coach halfway decently.
Yeah.
You know, but again, I don't know. He's probably long gone at this point.
Not totally sure there.
Or just curious if it was right on top of your head, if you even knew he was still a coach somewhere. But yeah, it's
he's head coaching Nigeria right now.
I thought I heard his name, and I was sitting there like, how in the world? But that's for the Olympic. I mean, I don't even know how he became the coach there. Is he like, man? Is he like really Nigerian?
I guess so.
He don't look like he's Nigerian.
He was born in Columbus, Ohio.
Exactly. I mean, it's one thing to say I got Nigerian in me, but that's not making you necessarily identify or.
Oh, he's a assistant right now with Golden State.
Okay, got it. I'm still not understanding how he's the head coach of Nigeria. Moving on. That's a whole nother a whole different research I need to do for myself, because I really want to find. Because I thought I heard his name.
Now I'm just enticed.
Because I'm hearing Mike Brown. You know what I was thinking? I'm thinking of what was the Philadelphia's coach when Iverson was his name was Brown. Oh God, why am I'm losing his first name? I think he was the UN. He used to play with the Tar Heels.
I got nothing.
2001 coach. And I thought it was something Brown. I completely forgot his first name. Gosh, it's leaving me. But he has
Larry Brown.
But he has a brother. I was thinking that was his brother. That's what I was thinking in my head. But no, that was the Mike Brown I was talking, which didn't make any sense to me. It didn't make sense when I was thinking it in my head either. I'm like, well, what would he have to do with the Nigerian team?
Yeah.
White guy. Moving on. So he's assistant in Golden State. I don't know. That's me. Maybe I'm trying to pull somebody like that.
Maybe. I mean,
he's open to it, only because I've seen him be a head coach before. Granted, yes, it was an LeBron James team, but he did okay with the Lakers, and I'm just saying he's had the jobs.
Yeah.
So moving on. I don't want to get too much into speculations of Milwaukee, but yeah,
Budenholzer.
Hauser is he I think he's gone. No, I know he's gone. Then they're gonna go a different direction. The question is just where.
Yeah, that's the biggest question. I think outside of the GM role, where they need to kind of make an upgrade there, I think as well to finish putting a team around Giannis. Budenholzer, the coach, it just, to me, this season's really solidified it for me. I just don't think that he's that guy to get them over the hump.
No. I mean, he has 3 games out of next 4 to try to get it, but I think it's, which is uniquely strange. You just see, even being in the finals, you can see like, I don't think this is the guy that's going to take you into the next 5-6 seasons. It just
Well, you've given your Got That Dog award. You got a question of the day?
I actually don't.
Oh, okay.
I just left it with nothing. It was just because it's the finals. I don't know. I tried to come up with something, but I didn't want to just come up with something that was weak.
I did, just before we started recording here, I did see a story finally break. We're finally talking about seriously conversations happening out of Philadelphia now. Ben Simmons, they're shopping him around. They're trying to see where they might move him off to.
Mm-hmm.
Just speculatory. I'll put out a question of the day. Where do you guys think is the best fit for Ben Simmons realistically in this upcoming offseason, if they are going to move him?
Okay, that's fair. So where's the best possible destination for Ben Simmons realistically in the offseason?
Yeah. And I guess I'll say this from Philadelphia's perspective. I know you could say it from any of the other teams' perspectives as well, but realistically, who will they ship him off to?
No,
for
I understand.
what package they would get back. Yeah.
Both teams. I get that because it's too much speculatory. Oh, I see him over.
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
How could they even possibly put together a package to get him?
Because
at the end of the day, I do think Philadelphia is going to get a solid package for him. It's not going to be one of these huge, like, LeBron level trades. I know LeBron hasn't been traded, but like a Kawhi trade, it's not going to be something like that. But it will be something fairly large in compensation. I think that it's not going to be something that you can just kind of brush off as, oh, they won that trade because they got Ben Simmons. It's gonna be like, okay, yeah, you did give up a little bit. Let's kind of see how this plays out to see who wins that trade.
Yeah, and every rumor I've heard sounded utterly ridiculous. Like, why in the world would Philadelphia go for that?
Yeah,
it just didn't. I'm like, I don't think nothing ever gave the indication that they were that desperate to move on from him. It's just the story came out in that context for some reason. Like, oh my God, they got to do something. They got to do something now. Like, slow down. I'm like, okay, he had a bad series.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all you can really chalk it up to. So, I don't know. We shall see. The offseason is going to be very interesting. I know that gets into the free agency stuff, but that's putting the cart before the horse.
We'll talk about that.
I would not talk about free agency until after the finals because I really want to stay in the moment right now. And of course, then we got the Olympics going on. That's really putting the cart before the horse. And we'll just sound like we're rambling now, And I'll maybe touch on a speculation here and there, but I'm not gonna go too deep into.
Yeah, we're not gonna do any of those types of shows until after the finals is over.
Way after, and that's doing his due diligence to stay staying in the moment right now. So because it's be 1,000 things to speculate in a month from now. So in due time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we've got for this playoff update here. Let us know what you guys think down below. Again, housekeeping things before we let you guys go. Just go like, subscribe, and share the show. We want to continue to grow here. And go follow us over on Twitter at @the_Square Pod. You can follow us there. Updates on the show, updates in sports, anything that's happening, you'll see it there. So go check us out there. Anything from you?
I just wanted to. I know we said Giannis did get the Got That Dog award, but I just want to give out a stat line and I'll close out here. So Giannis, a winner again, two-time winner here of our Got That Dog award. He for the series in the finals, he is averaging 34.3 points, 14 rebounds, 4.7 assists, 1.3 blocks, 1.3 steals, and 37. In 38 minutes, shooting 66% from the free throw line. Impressive. And also shooting 63% from the field goal. From the field. Got that dog. I mean, that is solid across the board. Like I said, if you go back in time and there's a Karl Malone, a Charles Barkley, a Tim Duncan, a Kevin Garnett, there's a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Man, that got really jumbled I felt good in that first syllable. I can't say his name, but which is not, and I don't feel bad because I've been online all week and I saw so many people mess his name up. It's where it's like, dude,
I'm actually proud of the fact that I've gotten his name down.
You made me feel inferior, like something was wrong with me, and I started to realize you're the only one who can actually say his last name. So I don't feel so bad.
I honestly did have to sit down before the beginning of last season to just get his name down because he's literally has the only name. He's the only person in the league that has a name that's that hard to pronounce.
Even while looking at it, like, what? Moving on.
Somebody, I will say this before we go. Somebody did say, like, there's this dude online who makes fun of everybody's names. Mm-hmm. He called him Giannis Hakuna Matata.
Wow.
And I'm going to just leave it there. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Have a good night.